Hello and welcome to University Beat. I'm Denise White. In case you haven't read a newspaper, listened to the radio, watched television, been online, or talked to somebody for the past few months, we are in the process of choosing our next president. Campaigns are complicated affairs. They're long, expensive, and full of logistical challenges. Some students from USF St. Petersburg recently got an up-close look at the inside workings of presidential campaigning. Our Mark Schreiner traveled with them to New Hampshire.
Politics up here are crazy. The people are so much more intensified with it. They're so much more knowledgeable. It's a whole different ballgame. It's the Super Bowl, so to speak, up here.
23 students found out firsthand just how intense New Hampshire's first-in-the-nation primary is, and they did it thanks to a University of South Florida St. Petersburg class called Road to the White House.
It is exhilarating, it is electrifying, it is completely exhausting for all of us, but there's really nothing quite like it.
It's the third time McLaughlin has brought a class to the Granite State. In addition to learning about the political process, they find out how a state with about the same number of registered voters as Hillsborough County has come to play such a major role in determining the next president.
It's a very special place. The students learn about grassroots organizing and retail politics, and they get to see their candidates up close and personal, answering questions from voters.
During the 10-day trip, students attended multiple rallies and campaign stops. Many of them met not just their own candidates, but others as well. Emily Hughes was working the phones for Jeb Bush at his Manchester headquarters when the former Florida governor stopped by.
What has been the coolest thing you think so far?
Seeing him. I've gotten to talk to him firsthand, just ask him questions straight up. I didn't know that much about politics, and I knew a lot about people, though, and I get a good vibe from Jeb, and the more I talk to him, the more I feel comfortable in my vote for him.
Being able to get into that kind of intimate situation with each candidate really helps you get past how the media portrays them, and playing the same clips over and over and over again, you can really just talk with them.
But it wasn't all about meeting candidates and other celebrities or being interviewed by reporters from around the world. The students were really there to work, reaching out to voters on the phones.
This is Victor with Hillary for New Hampshire, and we wanted to remind you that to vote on February 9th.
At the polls and door to door.
I took on the approach of like, hey, when they knock on that door, I want them to see like how excited I am for Hillary, instead of like, hey, I'm doing this campaign and I hope I can get your vote.
They weren't all political science students either. Victor Sims is studying psychology and was able to put some of those lessons to work.
Like, I would first try to get them talking about, what they're looking for. And then if I can like relate, something that they say to like Hillary Clinton's campaign, then I'll like, hey, Hillary, does this or Hillary does that, or, I, tell personal stories on why I support Hillary Clinton specifically.
While Election Day was sunny and cold, the day before brought a surprise for the students. Snow, and lots of it.
Going out and canvassing has been a little rough. I think we were prepared clothes-wise. I don't think I was prepared mentally for the weather.
Seniors Alyssa Winston and Samantha Kendall worked for Senator Bernie Sanders.
And that's part of the reason why we're out here today, just reminding people to get out and vote for Bernie, because while we are ahead, we still want to make sure that we stay ahead.
For Kendall, one particular night of the trip stands out.
Chris Matthews took us with him, and we sat down at a table with him and had a really awesome conversation with him. And I also met Madeleine Albright, and then that same night I got a tattoo of the state of New Hampshire because I love it so much.
Many of the students are young enough that they've never voted in a presidential election before, but they say their experience has certainly moved them enough to stay involved in politics.
My mom and dad will tell me all day, go out and vote, it's very important. Okay, Mom and Dad, I'm sure it is, but when you're actually involved and you're trying to get other people to get out and vote, it sort of dawns on you how important it really is. So I am definitely glad that I was able to go on this trip.
And while McLaughlin hopes the students continue working on their campaigns through the Florida primary, what she really wants is for them to stay civically engaged.
And so ultimately I would like to see them become involved, and to be volunteers later on, to certainly to make sure they never let an election go by and not vote. I think that would be tragic.
For University Beat, I'm Mark Schreiner.